Welcome to our deep relaxation class.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bryan Nupp, and I feel so grateful and honored to be your facilitator for our deep relaxation practice this evening. So the goal of this class is to give you some mobility stretches and some opportunities to explore some basic yoga-inspired movements and do some exploration into breathing practices, also known as pranayama. My intention and goal for this particular class is to keep it really grounded and kind of as we start to transition out of summer into the fall season, just start really grounding down with our root and just having these practices that we can come to throughout the week and in between our sessions to help relax us. Some areas of the body that I hope that that I'll be focusing on that I hope can benefit you are going to be the lower back, the hamstrings, and IT band, as well as the hips. So with that kind of practice, we're going to be on the ground a lot, on our hands and knees, on our backs. We're not going to be standing and flowing a lot in tonight's practice. So make the accommodations that you need to. If you can't sit comfortably on the floor, which is where we're going to start tonight, feel free to pull up a chair or sit at the edge of a couch or on your bed or wherever you're at for class. Also, as was mentioned earlier before the start of class, having a yoga strap or resistance band or something with some length to it that you can actually hook your foot with when we're on our backs is going to be useful in our practice. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we're just going to enter into Sukhasana. Sukhasana is Sanskrit for a comfortable seated position. So I encourage you just to find that comfortable seat. Sit up on a cushion or a pillow. If it's comfortable, you can cross your legs. If it's not comfortable to sit with legs crossed, there's a few other options. You can sit on your knees with a cushion underneath of your ankles, or you could just simply sit with the legs outstretched or in a chair at the edge of a sofa. So once you've discovered what your ideal comfortable seat looks like, I want to encourage you just to start to lengthen the spine. Make yourself tall. Simultaneously root down by pressing your sitting bones or whatever surface is touching the floor. Press down and lift up through the crown of the head. Now invite in what might be the first intentional deep breath of your day or evening. Exhale completely. And inhale. Allow your inhalation to fill up your belly, midsection, and your chest. And exhale slowly in those three parts at your own rate. Your eyes can be closed. Your eyes can be looking at the screen to watch me. If you wish, your eyes can just be focused gently down. With every passing breath, I want you to start to build your gratitude practice. Realize how every single breath is a chance to start anew. Every single breath is an opportunity to refresh your perspective, to change your direction. Every single breath is a blessing. Remind yourself of that. Right here, in this comfortable seat. If you feel that your attention is split, that your mind is being bombarded with different thoughts, allow yourself to develop concentration on one single thought of breathing in, breathing out. We don't need to consciously make ourselves breathe or control our breath. That is automatically taken care of by our nervous system. But we can use that automatic breath to help develop concentration. And if need be, we can keep our minds just preoccupied enough by adding on a little bit of a direction with our mental concentration. Like, for example, the gratitude practice, or maybe you need to just keep it even simpler and just tell yourself, I'm breathing in as you breathe in. Breathing out as I breathe out. Stay with that breath awareness practice just for another 60 seconds. Just sit quietly with your breath. Before we move into the next aspect of our practice, I'm going to chant the syllable Om. You're welcome to join me. Om is a very old sound. Some philosophers and theologians think that this sound might have been the word in the beginning. Although I'm not a Sanskrit scholar, I know that this is a very auspicious and beautiful sound that we can use during our practice to kind of tune into the vibration and frequency that is this deep relaxation class. You're welcome to join me or just listen, see how it resonates with you. I'm going to exhale completely, and I'm just going to chant Om one time, and transition. When you're ready, please take your time and transition from your comfortable seated position and join me on your hands and knees. Some things you might need to bring along with you as we transition to hands and knees. You might need a pillow or a cushion for your knee joints, or you may not. So go ahead and make your way to hands and knees now. You can have the knees spaced just about hip width apart. Hands are going to be just underneath of the shoulders. We're going to start with that little warm up for the spine, our cat and cow practice. And so as I inhale, I'm going to tilt the tailbone away. I'm lengthening through the spine. I'm pulling the elbows in. And my fingers are spread wide. Hopefully you can see that here. My fingers are spread wide and my thumbs are gently angled in towards the center of my mat. As I inhale, I'm going to lengthen the spine, gently lift the chin, eye gaze turns up. And then as I exhale, I'm going to scoop the navel through and under. Chin tucks back in towards the chest now. This variation is called cow. Inhaling through the cow as the belly melts towards the floor, the chest lifts, the tailbone tilts away. Exhale into this cat pose, cat stretch. Go ahead and explore with your own range of motion. Do this for about 30 more seconds. Go ahead and return back to that neutral tabletop position. We're going to move through a tiger stretch next. This is going to be a lateral movement. And we'll start by just stretching that right leg out behind you, pressing into the ball mound of the foot, and then reach that left hand out in front. Inhale here. And then exhale, draw elbow to knee underneath the body. Inhale, reach long. You can tap the toe or keep that foot lifted. And go ahead and do 10 of these on this side. Done approximately 10. Go ahead and lower knee, lower hand. We're going to add in a child's pose to break up the sides. You can come down to your forearms. You can keep the toes tucked or untuck the toes. Shift the weight back towards the heels and gently rest your forehead down. Ready? Go ahead and gently press the floor away. Come on back up to that neutral table and prepare for that cross lateral movement on the other side. It's going to be moving right and left side, just like we moved right and left side before. You can go ahead and this time stretch your left leg back. Try and keep your hips square. You're going to want to pick that left hip up and try and keep the hips level. Right arm reaches out. You can inhale. And then exhale, draw elbow towards knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, repeat 8 more times. lower hand, lower knee, widen the knee slightly, shift the weight back. We're going to come back to child's pose, but this time we're going to add a side body stretch aspect. What we're going to do is reach the hands over to one side and then pull the weight back towards that opposite hip. Go ahead and transition to the other side. We're going to do that twice on each side. You can spend approximately 3 to 5 rounds of breath on each side here. Last time, other side, go switch. Come on back to center. Come up on the hands and knees. We're going to transition into a low lunge practice next. So I'm going to start by stepping my left foot forward. And you might need a cushion or something underneath of that right knee. Try and keep the knees level here. You might need to have your hands down on blocks or something to steady yourself. If you can, keep your hands on your hips, in front of the chest, or reach the hands up and over. We're going to inhale and lean back gently. We're going to drop the elbows in by the side body here. Open the heart. At the same time, press your hips forward, gently tilting the hips forward. You're going to feel that stretch in that right hip flexor. And then as you exhale, go ahead and frame that front foot. Try and not round to the spine as best as you can. You might have to scooch your right knee back a little bit, and then just start to straighten that left leg. Keep a little bit of a bend there in the knee, and then just flow. We're going to flow between the two now from this hamstring stretch, exhalation, and slow inhalation to bring us back up into that lunge position. Inhaling, exhaling. Little heart opening stretch here. Let's hit flexor stretch. Exhale, working that hamstring now slowly. And do that twice more. Follow your own rhythm and pace. With our hands up in our hands framing the feet, I'm going to actually go ahead and step those hands to the inside edge of the feet. I'm going to tuck these back toes, and I'm going to straighten this back leg. At the same time, I'm going to walk my left foot out to the side, maybe just outside of shoulder height, and then I'm going to gently lower back down on the lower part of this right quad. So I'm not going to be resting right on the knee, but actually on the space right above the knee. You might need to bring the floor up to you, so to speak. So you might need something to rest your arms on. That could be a chair here in front of your chest, or some yoga blocks or textbooks or something like that. Now from here, we're just going to gently shift our hips forward and down, and then just gently shift our hips back up. Start to feel really comfortable here, like this is very easy. You could lower down onto forearms. Just about 30 more seconds. When you're ready, we're going to actually move into a downward facing dog stretch. It's going to be a little bit just a kind of a shift back with that leg. It might not be the most graceful transition, but we're going to get there. You're going to go ahead and tuck the toes, lift your hips high, your feet about 2 fist distance apart. Pull the elbows in towards each other. Just gently bend one knee to the other, shifting your hips side to side. We're going to simply move from down dog back to our lunge by stepping the right foot up in between the hands, lowering that left knee down. And feel free to cushion the knee as needed. Ready, inhale up into that low lunge. Make sure the hips feel level there. This is our inhale position. And then we're going to exhale. You have to widen your stance a little bit. Exhale, fingertips to the floor. Gently shift the hips back to straighten that front leg. Keep the toes pointed or the foot flexed. Just see what works best for you. We're going to do this twice more. We're going to bring our hands back to the inside edge of that front foot. This front leg's going to walk out to the side. We're going to come up onto the ball mount of the back foot and move the knee back a couple of inches, and then gently lower it back down. This is just a very subtle shift in the hips. Ready? We're going to transition back to downward facing dog again. This time we're going to lift one foot up towards the ceiling behind us. Gently bend that leg and lower that foot back down. Repeat on the other side. Do that twice more on each side. Lower down to our knees now. We're actually going to lie down prone on our bellies with our left cheek on the mat and our arms down by our side. Go ahead and just gently shift your hips side to side. Pick up the shoulders and pull them back, lengthen through the neck. Just take about 5 rounds of breath here. And then we're going to switch to the other cheek and take 5 more breaths. We're going to get into our back bends and back toning sequence next. Now we'll just develop that relaxed awareness of the breath. Enjoy the blessing of this moment. Your next exhalation, go ahead and switch to opposite cheek, 5 breaths. When you're ready, go ahead and bring your hands up underneath of the shoulders, fingertips in line with your collarbones, chin on the floor. You can gently widen your hips slightly. And then inhale, press the lower belly and hips down into the mat as you lengthen the spine and lift head, neck, and chest, rising into what's called cobra pose, or the cobra stretch. The main focus of this stretch is in the upper back between the shoulder blades. So keep the elbows in close to the side body. Shoulders back and down. You can try doing this without the help of the hands. And when you're ready, lightly put your fingers on the floor and slide the hands forward until you come up onto your forearms with your elbows right up under the front of the shoulders, making into a transition, sort of a little bit more of a restorative heart opening and back stretch. Now, if you're feeling any compression in your lower back, there's a couple things you could do to alleviate that. One, you can actually engage through your core by gently scooping your lower belly up and in, and then lengthening through your spine again. So you're not just sagging through the belly. The core is actively working, pulling that energy and the muscles up in the navel. Other thing you can do is widen your legs slightly if you're having any kind of compression or pinching in the lower back. Of course, approach all these stretches at your own discretion. Modify as needed. Final option or addition, you don't have to try this, but you're welcome to. Would be a sea lion stretch. You just turn your hands out about 30 degrees, pull up on the fingertips, and press yourself up, lifting the chin up. If it's too intense, please lower back down. Stay on your forearms or just rest chest to the floor. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. Now, as you lower down, if you're wearing a watch or any jewelry, you might want to take that off for these next few stretches. We're going to move into some lower back. Now we've kind of toned and brought awareness up into the thoracic spine and upper middle back. We're going to work now to the lumbar spine with what's called half locust stretch and full locust stretch. So go ahead and actually bring your hands up to the forearms and or elbows underneath of your thighs. Your elbows will probably be above your hips into your belly. If that's completely uncomfortable or not in your range of motion, you can just keep the fingertips tucked underneath of the legs and the arms close to the side body. So we're simply going to lengthen ourselves horizontally here. It's not necessarily how high you can lift one leg behind you, but it's more so reaching across that horizontal plane. So you can gently start with one leg, maybe lifting the left leg up behind you. You can keep left cheek on the floor or bring chin or forehead to the floor, whatever's more comfortable for you. Keeping both hip flexors, that muscle we stretch in our lunge, connected to the floor. You're pressing your hips down, but you're lengthening from the glute down through the leg, all the way out through the toes, reaching long behind you. Gently lower that leg down and prepare for the other side. Switch cheeks. If you have left cheek on the floor, bring right cheek back to the mat. Gently lower back down. For a little bit of a rest, you can untuck the arms, bring your chin or forehead back to the floor. Gently shake the hips side to side. Move to the full locust stretch now, lifting both legs simultaneously. If that's not an option for you, you can just repeat, alternating, lifting one leg then the other, or just approximately hold for 30 seconds on each side. Nice deep breath in. As you exhale, commence the full locust stretch, lifting both legs, reaching them long. Slowly lower down. We're going to move into child's pose once again. This time, however, we're going to keep the knees close together. Come down to the forearms and then lengthen the hands forward, keeping the tailbone lifted, forehead to the mat. Ready? We're going to actually transition onto our backs now. Go ahead and keep that strap close by. If you need to get a drink at any point, please do that. When you're ready, go ahead and meet me resting on your back. We're going to keep our feet on the floor here. We're going to widen our feet to about the width of the mat, and then just let the knees stack in towards one another. Hands can rest on the chest, on the belly, palms turned up by the side. You can rest the arms wherever they are comfortable. This positioning that we found ourselves in here is very restorative for the lumbar spine. If you have any lower back flare-ups or sciatica, this position called constructive rest can be actually very beneficial in helping prevent and treat that back pain. So you can actually, on your own time, stay here for up to 15 minutes for maximum benefit. But we'll just get a taste of that tonight, and we're just going to be here for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Take a deep breath and sigh. Just anything that you're holding on to melt away. Let your body start to relax here. Yawn or cough or anything you need to do, go ahead and do that. Make sure that you're not clenching the jaw, let the face be relaxed. Eyes soft. Just feel that peace within as you rest here. Rest in gratitude, peace, grateful for the lifeblood that is pumping through you, for the miracle of this intricately put together body. Just let yourself be immersed in a peaceful, loving awareness, gratitude for this present moment. We're going to make our way into some more hamstring and hip stretches. So we're going to start with our right side. And we're going to start, you can keep the left foot on the floor with the leg bent. If it's comfortable, you can extend and straighten that left leg. We're going to start by hugging this right knee in towards the chest. We're not just going to pull the knee straight into the chest. We're going to rotate the knee out towards the side, like in a, if you're looking up at the ceiling and there was a clock, we're going to be rotating that leg up in a counterclockwise direction towards the body, and then clockwise direction back to neutral. So you can actually use the hands if you wish, or the arms to stay out by the side, and you can just start to rotate that leg. Be sure that as you start to rotate that right leg and hip, that your left glute doesn't lift up off the mat. Once you've made about a half a dozen of those semicircles, you can start to fully circle right leg. Just imagine like you were using a spatula to scoop up brownie batter from all the edges of a mixing bowl. I love that analogy because I think I love brownie batter. This ball and socket joint of the hip, it's important that we try and explore that full range of motion with small circles and large circles, everything in between. So it's the direction of those hip circles. It's good. Next time you have that knee pulled in towards the chest, we can actually grab our straps now. We can use our straps for this. There's two ways you can use the strap that I know of that I'd like to do. One is the most simple and kind of just obvious. You just hook the foot. The second gives you a little more stability through the ankle, and all you're going to do is wrap right hand around behind and cross left hand over, and then go ahead and just switch the hands on that strap. And if you can see there, that gives me a little more ankle support where that strap is now hooking the heel. So from here, I'm going to inhale and bend at the knee. And then exhale, straighten the leg. We're going to keep the knee right over top of the hip flexor, just like it was in our lunge position. This is really great for our knee joint as well as our hamstring flexibility. Inhale, bend the knee, drop the heel down. Exhale, straighten the leg, pressing the foot. We can do that 4 more times. Switch sides. Now, actually, before we switch sides, we're going to add one other really nice stretch for our IT band, that outside band of the leg. And we're going to use the strap for it. So go ahead and straighten that leg again. And this is a really subtle movement. I want to try and keep my glute connected to the mat. But all I'm going to do is move my foot just over about 3 inches just over towards the center of the belly button, or maybe just the other side. So you're going to really get the benefit from that T-band stretch. Again, keep your face relaxed, the jaw be unclenched. Just focus on your breath while you rest here. Take a brief counter stretch, opening that leg out to the side for a breath or two. Ready, release the strap and place that right foot back down. Extend that right leg long and just notice that difference between your right and left leg right now. It's probably a very stark contrast. Done a lot of work on that hip, hamstring, knee joint, T-band. Let's go ahead and even things out on the other side. So before we do our strap work, we're going to start to bring that knee around and out to the side. We're going to make about a half a dozen of these semicircles. And we'll explore some full range of motion circles with that left leg and ball and socket joint in the hip. We have already transitioned to those full range of motion circles. A handful on each side, each direction. Right, now we can grab that strap again and hook the left foot this time. Hips level. Remember, don't raise either of your glutes or hips off the floor while we move through these next couple of stretches. It's going to be inhale, bend the knee, and then exhale, straight. Four more of those. Next time you have that left leg straightened, we're going to move into that IT band stretch by just gently shifting that leg across the body slightly. Keep the shoulders relaxed here and away from the ears. Take a nice counter stretch to the other side for a breath or two. Gently bring the knee back to center, remove the strap, and lower the foot down. So we're going to move now into our final position of the class, which is going to be, I'll give you a couple of options. One, you can lie down in a classic Shavasana, just arms and legs spread out, resting on your back, eyes closed. If you wish, you can come into a legs up the wall stretch. That's going to be really wonderful for your lower back and hamstrings as well. So it's just like it sounds. Move your mat up to a spot on the wall. And you're going to sit with one hip up against the wall, and then just slowly transition over to one side, and then slowly press your glutes against the wall and transition so that your legs will rest up the wall. Try and keep your feet in alignment with hips. Whether you're choosing to rest here or in Savasana, just let your attention return back to that breath awareness that we started our practice with. We'll be here for about the next 3.5 to 4 minutes. thoughts come, just let them come. Try to cling to any or indulge any stories or entertain any unnecessary thoughts. Or you don't have to push them away. Sort of recurring thought or theme, let it be that resting and gratitude for all the blessings in your life. Enter that state of thankfulness, find peace. If you have been resting with your legs up on the wall, then it's time where we can gently start to bring the feet to the wall, and then gently roll over to one side as you sort of scooch and press yourself away from the wall. You can come to rest on your left-hand side. Just pause here a moment. And then all together, we're going to make our way back up into a comfortable seated position. Of course, if you're very comfortable where you're at, you want to extend your relaxation. Welcome to do that. Stay as long as you need to. Shanti, Shalom, peace, 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 and peace go with you, be within you always. Thank you for joining us for tonight's class. We'll close our practice and greet each other with Namaste. Namaste.